muponesi panoche keswa kwese okupenya kwakanaka kupenye ramu moyo Jesu ano visenamo anope nyamu moyo ndosia kusua kwangu senguo zodzekare ndifukidze nekutenda mondepe nyikutenda kumusha wembiri uyo makandi gadzirira moyo wangu unotenda nemweya unovuma okopenya kwakanaka kopenye ramu moyo Jesu ano visenamo anope nyamu moyo muponesi manditenga ndawawe nyunarini ngaipfute mwenje yese ipfuti reyetenzi gomosha wembiri uyo makandi gadzirira moyo wangu unotenda nemweya unopfuma okopenya kwakanaka kopenye ramu moyo Jesu ano visanamo anope nyamu moyo.
Ngatinamate isangano dzvene raMwari. Baba vedu variko kudenga, tinoda kukutendai mukati menguva dzino nepetasvika. Tinotenda nekutisesedza kubva mumangwanani nezviitiko zvese zvatora chinzvimbo pakati pedu. Tinotenda nekutungamira kwenyu kune simba. Kozvino Mwari wokudenga, takuenderera mberi nemusangano wedu. Tinokumbira mweya wenyu mutsvene ugowa pakati pemumwe namumwe wedu. Tibatei pakadzika dzika pepfungwa dzedu Ishe wokudenga, tikokwanisa kunzwisisa kuri kubva basa renyu nekwariri kuenda, zvikuru neperasvika nepasara hwamanda isati yarira. Kumbira Mwari wokudenga kuti zvose zvatichaita panguva dzino zvinge zvichitungamirwa nemweya wenyu mutsvene. Mubvise dzingawa pfungwa dzedu, muise pfungwa dzenyu nokuti basa nderenyu. Misheni ndeyenyu Mwari wokudenga. Hakuna mumwe wedu ane misheni, asi makatiisa mukati memisheni yedu. Chitikomborerai kuti tive vabati vakavimbika nekutendeka pazvinhu zvose. Kubva pano kunyangwe nekudzimba dzedu, zvirege kuva zvemuchechi bedzi, asi sangano guru rinotangira kumba. Tive vatungamiriri vakakwana nekufanira pamberi pechigaro chenyu, nekuda kwokubata kwenyu kunoshamisa. Kana zvese zvapera, tichafara nekupemberera taponeswa tawa kumusha. Muzita renyu muponesi Jesu, rinogara kusvika nekusingaperi. Tinokunamatai, amen. It's okay. Thank you, vana vaMwari. Toda kutenda. Tinokumbira kuti patiri pese kana uchekutanga regai nditi izvo, after every segment tichava nenguva yemunamato, a season of prayer. But even though during the service and everything that will be transpiring, ndinokumbira kuti paugere ipapo uwe unonamata. Every minute, every hour, every half an hour, pray, pray, and pray, and we'll see the success of our program. May God bless you as you pray.
Thank you so much, Pastor Chinyowa. At this time, fellow delegates, we are now taking you through the Secretariat report. So feel relaxed as we take you through this report. Amen? Thank you. Okay, here's an announcement. The technical team is missing 4 devices. If anyone does have it, or if there are people with them, please, we are kindly requested to submit them or to surrender them to the technical team. Try to just dip your hand in maybe your bag, or maybe in your side pocket. It may have that you have forgotten. Kukanganikwa kunowanikwa pamwe wangoisa mbag ma devices aya ati kushandisa ma voting gadgets kune 4 asina kuritenwa. Ari kunzi please vanawo ngavauye nawo vamaisa ukoko. Manheru ano aya hatisi kuzoshandisa ma gadgets iwavo, anoshanda mangwana. So pama reports ari kuuya tichashandisa the manual here. Okay? Right. Please imbotarisai muhomwe dzenyu kana kuti ungofunga kuti ndadzosera here. Zvinofana kudzoserwa naika. Thank you so much. I'm sure that is going to be sorted. It's now time for the technical team to give us the report.
All right, takamirira technical team yedu kuti isete mshina yavo kuti agutipe report. Regai tore mukana uno. All right, tinotenda. Tula kutenda chose tazo neboda kwenguva atina kukwanisa kuti wane uchenjeri uzhinji hwanga huri kubve muvanhu as far as kind of feedback from the report. Brilliant insights were coming. We really appreciated that. Tokumbira kuti kune tadze kutaura ipo paya muzvinyore pasi muzvichengetedze, then patime yemaplans and resolutions muzvisubmita vanogona kubatsirika vamwe vari kuteera. Those were brilliant. Great insights were coming from different kinds of people. So may we request you kuti muzvinyore pasi, musakanganwa kana kurasa, muzvichengetedza. Then patime yemaplans and resolutions, may you submit those things, those insights, those advices and wisdom kuti zvigobatsirawo vamwe vanoteera. Otherwise Mwari wekudenga ngatiitire zvakanaka, atitungamirire as we are all learning from one another. May God bless us. I don't know, probably if we may have just one feedback, if there is any, from our leaders from the union. Pastor Ndlovu, Pastor Msara, Elder Mzamendo, do we have anything to say? It's okay, thank you. We are now looking and also receiving the Secretariat's report, after which then we proceed to the other report that will come from the CFO. Thank you so much. May you go ahead, the technical team.
Starting the year 2021 to 2022. 87,904. Baptism, 13,014. Pastors, 66. Workers, 38. Global pioneers, 28. Retirees, 6. Churches, 526. Districts, 52. Institutions, 18. Membership review. The membership review is a very practical way of caring for each other. Why membership review? 1. Because we care. 2. Church membership record has become bloated through the years. In other words, there is a great disparity between membership and attendance. Note, the words review and audit will be used interchangeably throughout this report. Our general thrust principles of membership audit. 1. Every church member must be involved in the audit process. 2. Each church should have one full member list, or the church record should contain the names of all members. 3. Each church should have 5 auxiliary lists for membership audit purposes only. A. Frequent regular members. B. Non-frequent regular members. C. Members to transfer in or out. D. Members with unknown whereabouts. E. Members to recover. Known whereabouts but to recover. Each group of people will be assigned specific departments to do the follow-ups. 4. A regular church board agenda should include the following. 1. Evangelism. 2. Nurture. 3. Reclamation. It is with this background that we venture into the membership audit exercise. The roadmap began with training pastors at Mulberrain SDA Church on the 18th of December 2021, and such trainings continued into 2022 and 2023. TOT's team were trained, equipped, and sent. In 2022, there were 12 teams, and in 2023, there were 34 teams.
Today we are gathered here at Mulberrain Main SDA Church, where we have invited more than 57 coordinators from across our conference to train them on membership review, how to do the process, how to help church clerks, how to help the district to do the membership review. This year in 2023, our focus or our thrust is mainly membership review, so that we can fully implement the aspect of membership review in NZC through the leadership of Pastor Parangeta, our Executive Secretary.
On the 8th and 11th of January 2023, pastors and district coordinators were oriented respectively on how to implement membership review. January 21, 2023 was a massive membership audit training throughout the constituency. All our 52 districts receiving membership review training. During the training, attendees were local church clerks, first elders, auxiliary assigned church board members, and membership review committees. Membership review assessment tools. In monitoring the objective actions and key performance indicators, Secretariat developed assessment evaluation tools. Prior to the implementation of the membership audit, evaluating the tools were developed. Pastors and membership review teams were set and oriented on the 14th and 24th of June 2023, respectively. Membership review assessment. Evaluation reviewed that 65% of our churches conducted roll calls, 60% finished manual membership classification, 60.7% completed ACMS classification, 48% of our churches were conducting church boards with nurture and retention agenda item, 45% overall membership review implementation progress. 87% of our pastors are active on ACMS and 30% of our churches are performing membership visitation. Whilst this is for the overall report, districts' reports were sent to all districts. Way forward, transitional momentum to continue, that is from manual to online categorizing. Membership review to continue until Jesus comes. Membership review 2-year cycle up to 2 years. If, however, after efforts to locate the missing member are fruitless by 2 years, then the church may certify that it has tried without success to locate the members, and the members may be removed by a vote of the church. See Church Manual, page 72. Adventist Church Management System, ACMS, is an internet-based program that is allowing us to standardize record keeping and streamline the reporting process from the local church to the General Conference. In December 2021, the Secretariat Department recognized the need for total member involvement to expedite the capturing of manual membership registrations in ACMS. So we identified and trained 48 coordinators and all pastors from our districts who assisted in massive training of all our church clerks within our conference. ACMS coordinators orientation and training were done in 2022 to 2023.
Okay, we are gathered here as North Zimbabwe Conference pastors and ACMS coordinators. We as ACMS coordinators, we had some challenges, especially with capturing of names and also how to coordinate the church clerks. So the Secretariat has called us together so that they could help us on how to navigate all those challenges that we were facing. So I think this event has been so beneficial. Because of this exercise that we had, the church will benefit a lot because most of the district coordinators and the pastors who have attended this event, they are now energized and they are now well aware of where we are going and where we are coming from.
ACMS entries were made, and to commemorate the blessed work, a festive of the Larry was celebrated at Harare Showgrounds on the 10th of September 2023. 391 clerks were certified and 48 ACMS coordinators were certified. Pastors, global pioneers, former officers, current officers were appreciated with gifts. In commemorating the landmark of entries, an ACMS song was composed. ACMS register is member-based. It is more accurate than manual registers. It helps the department to establish the inflated figures. See the following table. Annual Statistical Membership Report versus ACMS Membership Report 2021 to 2023. ACMS membership entries. The following figures were captured on the ACMS from the year 2021, 2022, and 2023, respectively. 10,252, 22,128, and 4,525. In 2021, the majority of data was captured at the conference level, with 4,655 names entered from October 2021 to December
Why the membership drop? The membership on the conference record was not tandem with the membership in the local churches' registers, and an intensive membership audit was coordinated in local churches by Secretariat departments in 2022, and a ghost figure of 85,708 was voted out from the local churches and conference records. ACMS assessments. The Secretariat Department launched assessment training for pastors and district coordinators in April 2022 and 2023. District pastors and coordinators were given tools on the day to help them assess ACMS progress in their districts on a weekly basis. An evaluation of pastors, first elders, clerks, district membership review committees in the month of July 2023 was conducted. Custody of policy and fundamental beliefs. Programs for equipping clerks, first elders, and church board members were carried out together during the membership review training. Soft copies of the church policy and church manual were supplied to all workers. Adventist Mission is a subsidiary of Secretariat, and it helps people understand the Bible, find freedom, healing, and hope in Jesus. The first objective of Adventist Mission is to share Christ with people who have not heard about Him. Adventist Mission works in the far-flung corners of the constituency as well as in cities. It is to initiate congregation of believers among new geographic areas and people groups, unreached or less reached people groups. Hence, Adventist Mission, like any other arm of the church, is there to restore broken humanity to wholeness in relationship with God. In attempt to reach and minister to the Muslim community in Belgravia, we applied Christ method. On March 26, 2023, all NZC pastors, global pioneer evangelists, and many church board members attended the training at Harare Showground. On March 27, 2023, NZC pastors and global pioneers, after getting more lectures from Dr. Gison Santos, toured the Muslim mosque in Belgravia, learned more about Muslim faith, and created bridges between Adventist and Muslim. The training helped pastors to appreciate Muslims, and it opened a way for bringing the gospel to Muslims.
Dear friends, I'm so blessed to come and visit Zimbabwe. I'm really impressed. This was a great opportunity when I came to participate in this mission conference, and it was great for us to talk about the need of being prepared and equipped to reach out and fulfill God's mission in our ministry.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have begun our descent into Mazoe Valley. Please switch off your electronic gadgets. Thank you for flying with our airline today. The local time is 1800 hours and the temperature is mild. For your safety and the safety of those around you, please remain seated. Passengers in transit to Harare, Muzi, Kariba, Chegutu, Muzarabani, Burungwe, Bindura, Chinoi, Mutoko, Murewa, Mondoro, and Mondaren, please remain seated and your seatbelt fastened until the aircraft is completely stationary. Thank you for choosing to fly with Secretariat, Central Air Transport Services. Good night.
Okay, we'll just respond with an amen. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I move a motion that this House accept the Secretariat report. I so move, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you so much. A motion has been moved. Anyone to second the motion? Seconded. Allow me to entertain eight responses, 4 from this side and 4 from this side, responding to the report presented. Let me see the first four. Please come and stand here. The first, from this side, 4. From this side, may you come and stand here, 4 of you. 4. Any first 4, stand here. And any first 4, stand here. If they are there, if they are less, the better. We only have 3. No one else? It's fine. We work with these 3. That's fine. From this end, we have 3 as well. That's fine still. After these, we vote and we proceed. Thank you so much. The first speaker from this end. Over to you.
Thank you. I've observed with great concern per report secretary, I mentioned a number of pastors vari mu conference medu. Then I checked per list ratina rumbhuku ndikaona zvichienderana nezvataurwa apo. Asi district pastor for Urungwele East District is not appearing. So my question is it an error or there is something fishy about it? Since this is the biggest meeting for the conference, which has power to override timweti matare nyana tingaitwe pakati, ndanga ndiri kumove a motion yekuti nyaya yacho yatiri kunzwa pamusoro pa-BK Shambare idiscusswe pano ipere, because on the 9th vakasuspendwa iyo vari muhospital.
Okay, point of
Thank
order.
you.
Point of order. We are responding to the report that has been submitted. Just that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My question, Secretary, is...
Order. Order. We are still here. So let's respect each other. Someone is talking. He has the floor. Allow him to speak. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My questions are 2 with relation to ACMS particularly. I wanted to inquire the percentage of membership drop as a result of implementation of ACMS. That's the first question. The second one is, what is the implication in terms of how it affects our status as a constituency? Then thirdly, maybe it relates to the local implications. We are having churches with a bloated membership. What is the process of dropping such membership? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think this was a good report, but I observed some improvements that could be made. I think it is a time when our church needs to move beyond the use of data towards actual statistics. For example, to say that there's 87,000 members in the church, that's not a statistic per se, it's just data. What does it mean? Is it good or bad that we have 87,000 members? When you say you have 66 pastors, what does that mean? Is that a good number of pastors? And the problem with that is that we do not know what our targets are. How many pastors do we even need? So we need to move towards that, where we actually use data in how we do the work. I also noticed that the creation of the strategic document is also under the custody of the Secretariat. I noticed that there was a mismatch in our strategic document and the objectives. We just mentioned there were 4 pillars and there were 33 objectives. But I didn't see how each one of those objectives was fitting into those 4 pillars. And honestly speaking, any project that has 33 objectives is too broad for you to actually make any impact. And I also noticed the issue of church policies is also under the Secretariat. We have a huge challenge in our churches. Everyone says the policy is this, everyone says the policy is this. So I think we need a lot of help when it comes to interpreting policies. I also noticed in the report that it's mentioning that there were assessment tools that were implemented for the key performance indicators. That report would have been good for us to see if the department directors actually did their work. Because if we know how they performed, then we can be able to say, you said you were going to build 10 schools, but you only built 6. what were the challenges. So I think if that report is available, it will be very useful for the floor. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ini ndoda kungokorokotedza kuti report iyi yakaitwa neunyanzvi uye yakagadzirwa nevanhu vaida basa vanoziva basa ravo. Also chinhu chitsva chiri pa I differ with my other colleagues because chinhu chitsva chese chine ma-challenges. Saka kana chine ma-challenges tinoita inonzi case study. I think case study yakaitwa ndafarira pama-coordinators, Mr. Chairman, kuti question yangu yandada kubvunza inogona kupindurwa if the coordination training system ikaramba ichienda, because dambudziko randakangonotisa nderekuti we've got a lot of membership dziri kuflota between churches, dziri in the air. Like I encountered a problem where we transferred membership to Madokero or to Tenwa South or to Chinoi. But the Chinoi guys, when they wanted to accept the membership and complete the transfer was not complete. So it seems all the membership is now hanging in the air. Hence, we've got a question whereby we've got what we call ghost members or missing members, or a church whereby it's got more membership than the one which is on the ground. I think we need to look into the system. I think there's a technical challenge, if I may so speak.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Secretary, for the report. But I've got an observation that I've seen, because we are boiling inside to say our views. I suggest we have like a conference business meeting, whereby people can air out certain things that they want to put out to the conference. But on your report, Mr. Secretary, you did a statistic when you started the report. And it looks like everybody on the statistic is represented here, except the global pioneers. They are not represented here. I don't think there's any global pioneer which is here. I think it's quite unfair for vanhu vamonzi mapadza vari kusakurira nzvimbo kuti vange vasipo paripoti yavari kutopiwa pastatistics kuti vanhu vari kurecognize. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mine is a positive comment towards the Secretariat Department. I would like to say thank you. Pakauya ACMS takatombofunga kuti achigoneki, but through their commitment and the response yaunowana to the office yacho ukafonera kana munhu, it's so inokuita kuti ude kuenderera mberi nebasa. Thank you for that. Maybe yandingadawo kukomenta ndeyekuti pamunogadzira mareports aya akakura, and considering time yatiri kumaita review munomu idiki zvokuti zvimwe zvacho tangoona zvichiflya. So maybe tikakwanisa kuti yearly kana kuti quarterly or whatever toproduce tumabhuku fanike twamatupa utu kanoenda pachechi yega yega, machechi 66 amungatadzi kopo takachiverengawo nemunhu wese anoda kuona basa riri kuitwa muNorth Zimbabwe Conference. Otherwise, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Allow me to give this time to Dr. Parangeta to respond to some concerns raised.
Okay, thank you so much, fellow dear delegates. Bear with me, Chakutanga, pane one question yandichakumbira kuti ndimboita confirm with my team. I'm not sure if I'm not seeing Fabi that I can confirm the percentage that has been asked precisely. You've got the figures, but I need to make sure that I've got the right percentage. I think one of the first delegate on that one. Now, let me maybe start by responding to the issue Yema global pioneers. We really appreciate the sincerity that has been expressed, and also Yaramba Chitaurwa. Zaziri in the Constitution. Ndamboti werengei kumakuseni panda ndiri kuita submit to the president the way how we moved kuti tigozowane number of my delegates. Mukaenda panotaurwa nezve who constitute a delegate, iri in bold the licensed and the credentialed, ndo zvairi. So mchaona kuti a global pioneer asi munhu awa credentialed or licensed until time atori in the journey yokuita move towards the point yekuva licensed. The moment yaanetwa licensed, it's there, it's enshrined in the policy. Yeah, the years, panoita 2 years of internship dzaanenge achimbetwa oriented, monitored and oriented. After aita pass through those 2 years, then now he is now voted kuva a licensed pastor. So bear with us. It's something that we will also take to the leadership. You know, the system of our church, zvinhu zvose zvinongoiswa kumusoro zvoenda zvichiiswa then togozopuwa mindoro. Like, surely tine so many of these global pioneers, that's the concern. They are monitoring my places. But ukazoendawo zvakare pa the policy wise, I think yambopuwa the video. Kuti a global pioneer ari kuenda kunoita penetrate pa area yaari kuva ari. Then kana church ichinge yazokura again, he goes pane imwe church. Not kuti we are disputing the fact yokuti vane dzimwe nzvimbo dzakakura. So we really accept your sincere submission, and we also take it up further kuti tibetserwe with the leaders. Asingatizive chiro ichi. The board still remains irrefirm. A delegate is one ari licensed or credentialed when we speak of my work as a church. Thank you. Then issue assessment. Report payatizo takaita formulate assessment tools. It's confined to the area yes secretariat, but the issue membership, ACMS and membership review. The tools that have been referred to, my tools are developed to respond by ACMS and church membership as such. Okay. On the matters of church policy, I think that one is taken. We'll also recommend this to the upcoming leadership. Issue a percentage, just let me put that one to hold until I get the rightful percentage. Then the other question, just hold on. Okay, thank you. With the wisdom I'm getting from my president here, thank you.
Thank you very much for the responses. At this point in time, we have reached the point of voting. All that are in favor to accept the report is submitted, may we show by raising our hands to the yes side. Okay, you may put them down. All those that are also saying no, may we also show by raising the same side, the no side. It's carried. Thank you very much for the report, Dr. Parangeta, and for the submissions that came from the audience. We want to thank you so much for that. While we are waiting for the CFO and his team to come up front, allow me to invite the well to come and share a musical item with us, after which then we go to the CFO. The well, are we still here? Dr. Manua, may you play our musical instrument while we are waiting for the well. Are they still around? Okay, if they are no longer there, no problem. Elder Manua, may you just share a musical item while we are waiting for the CFO and his team to come up front. Okay, all the accountants. Oh, okay. All right. All our accountants, please come and sit here with your chairs. I think everything is in order.
Yes, she's coming.
Okay. Thank you so much. During this interlude, allow me to request the prayer band team Ms. Zimbabwe, may you come up front and lead us into a prayer session.
Manero akanaka vana Mwari. Toda kutenda Jehovah vatichengeta kusvika nguva ino. You are going to see myself and the retired pastors takakumbirwa pakati pevhiki kuti tinge tiri kushanda prayer band, and we've managed to convene kuti tikwanise kutanga kushanda pamwe chete. You would see that on the programs hatipo. Mnamato hauiswi pa program. Mnamato is a consistent thing chatinoshanda nacho. I'll give my nugget before we pray. One of our retired pastors, could you come forward as I give the nugget? Could you go to Pastor Ngwaru or Pastor Boni or Pastor Msoshi, if you could come forward. Isaiah chapter 6 verses 1. Kana pana anogono ndiverengera nekukasika muchishona, kana pasina ndichaverenga muchirungu. Inoti iyo, in the year that King Uzziah died, I saw the Lord, way and exalted, seated on the throne, and the train of his robe filled the temple. This was Isaiah aitaura kuti pakafa mambo Uzziah ndakaona Mwari. I'll give a short background about it. Mambo Uzziah akanga atonga Judah for 52 years, being a king. Maybe sense of humor, vakanga vanetana Mugabe for kutonga for less than 40 years. Angas now tonga chi for more than 52 years. Anonzi was one of the longest serving kings in Judah. And during his time, he was a very, very powerful king. Akaita zvikuru zvaisimudzira vana veJudha. He had mighty armies. Aisapota ma projects. Aichengetedza vana vemo. You know, he was known even in Egypt, and all the other kings respected him, and they gave him respect. Mukati mekushanda kwake, and he was on the lips of even little children mukurarama kwavo. And King Uzziah died. Akafa. Afa kudaro vanhu vakaenda kunochema Mambo Uzziah. So whilst they were mourning, they came in their different numbers. Vakauya vakasiyana siyana kunochema mambo. Saka vari kuchema, amongst the mourners, Isaiah was there. Saka paichema, pane vaiungudza, pane vaichema in anxiety, pane vaichema mukutambudzika nekushungurudzika, pane vaichema muhasha. Kutichi, zvaitikirei, and all that stuff. They came mourning with different agendas. Zokuya kunochema. Maonaka? Ameno kuti muri kundibata. Vakauya kunomuchema, but umwe neumwe aichema zvaichema pakufa apa. Vamwe vangu vasingachemi kufa kwake, vaichema ma-benefits avaiwana kwaari. Kuti ma-benefits aita sei aenda. And I can vision Isaiah akagara ipapo pachigaro. He lifted his eyes. The Bible says he lifted his eyes, if you read my commentary. And in the temple, there was a throne. And the throne of Uzziah was empty. But there was a throne, yakaita kumberi kwake. And on that throne, God was sitting there. In other words, Isaiah aichemao. Hana kungouya kunotsvaga chimwe chinhu. He was ndofunga aitoshungurudzika kuti zvino Mwari ndini muprofita wenyu, ndichaita sei, zvichafamba sei. But kamuchemero kakaita kuti aone Mwari. Ndiri kuti inini, my nugget devotional topic is kuti ndikuonei Mwari. In this session, let me see you. When I touch that gadget, kanzi X and what and red and 1A, may I see you. When I come to speak, may I see you. When I am talking with my colleague, may I see you. Kuti ndikuonei Mwari, muno mumba menyu, hamuna kusara ku church, mauya nesu pano pa premise ya mai Mugabe muri pano. Ndoda kukuonai. Mapoints enyu hana kuipa, asi ndoda kukuonai. Pandinoshama ndichitaura, hasha dzangu dzichatadza kuti ndikuonei. Handitika? Pane vakatadza kuona Mwari nenyaya yekuchema, machemero, matauriro. Mwari toda kukuonai. When we leave this session, The outcome, toda kukuona imimi with the outcome of this session. The results, we want to see you. Not I, but Christ. I love that song. Kwete ini, asi imi. Let us not trust in what we know, in our strength, in our education. Zvakanaka zvese zvimwari vakatipa, but let us see Christ. Vanhu vaMwari, tinamatiriwo pastor.
Amen, thanks. Matei. Mwari Baba, ameno kuti makazvironga sei kuti isu vanhu vari simbo sanangwaru nanachapwanya nanachindiki tigobhilonga kune chinhu chinonzi the remnant church, zvichireva kuti mamwe mapazi ese anenge aputsika kosara stamp ichasika rudzi rwutsvene, sangano remusarerirwa, the apostolic prophetic church. Chendenge ndichikumbira Mwari ndechichichi, zvenge zvakadii kuti ZANU igodzidza kwatiri ma-elections, Triple C igodzidza kwatiri ma-election nanamonzvora, the corporate world kana iri kutsvaga how people do business to carry the organization forward, wagoti hatendei kumasabata. But izvozvo hazvigone kuitwa nanangwaru. Tine ma-self-interest, tine zvinangwa zvinotipusha, zvinotoda kuti tiputswe, mutiputse mwoyo, titendere musesheni inei kuti Mwari muwe Mwari. Zvakaita ana Peter wachinamata kuti Mwari isa hatitombozive pakati pewairi avo kuti masarudza ani, chitipangidzai Mwari our remnants, usarirwa hwedu, dai hungapangidze trust in your leadership as you choose leaders for yourself. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Tinotenda.
We can map our journey forward by considering our past. Welcome to the North Zimbabwe Conference Treasury Department report, which encapsulates our unwavering commitment to financial transparency, responsible stewardship, and our enduring dedication to mission. We can map our journey forward by considering our past. Welcome to the North Zimbabwe Conference Treasury Department report, which encapsulates our unwavering commitment to financial transparency, responsible stewardship, and our enduring dedication to mission in the face of dire circumstances. Meet the team who weathered the storms that came, helped to guide North Zimbabwe Conference financial decisions with a firm commitment to uplifting our community and shared values while driving mission by harnessing both prudence and innovation to have a meaningful impact in our ever-evolving economic landscape. Leading the team was Chengeto Moyo, who served as the chair of the Finance Committee, alongside Tafadzwa Tasman Gondo, who served as the Secretary of the Finance Committee and the Chief Financial Officer of North Zimbabwe Conference. We have Tawanda Chituku and Andrew Musiniwa, who comprised the lay members of the committee, bringing their expertise and wisdom to help guide the plans, vision, and modus operandi of the Finance Department. The other members of the committee included the following members of the clergy: Oswald Dwairo, Trustmore Parangeta, and Fortunate Chipunza. Before you, ladies and gentlemen, is the team that set into motion the dream and vision of the Finance Committee. Please welcome the Finance Department staff. That includes the accountants, accounts clerks, audit team, and ancillary staff. Thank you for sharing in our journey, for your unwavering support, and for your commitment to our shared vision. Without further ado, let us welcome to the podium Tafadzwa Taskman Gondo, who will take us through the financial journey we have traversed this triennium.
Mr. Chairman, my presentation is going to address the item that is CFO's report and the auditor's report. Allow me, Mr. Chairman, to start by quoting Ellen White in her book, Life Sketches, page 214. She says, "Every dollar of our means should be considered as the Lord's, not ours, and as a precious trust from God to us, not to be wasted for needless indulgences, but carefully used in the cause of God, in the work of saving men and women from ruin." Mr. Chairman, the triennium report that I'm presenting is a background of...
Sorry, friends. Tikukumbiro anyone, a medical practitioner, aende pa door up immediately. Wanotibatsira ku health kana ku medicine, muenda pa that door. We need you right now.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. I was alluding to the fact that the triennium that we are reporting today is one that has been characterized by turbulences because of the environment that we are operating as a conference. Allow me, Mr. Chairman, to quote from a report from the World Bank on Zimbabwe of September 2023, and they say, although extreme poverty has declined since its peak in 2020, it remains high in the context of cyclical agriculture production and elevated food prices. Persistent inflation, high dependence on low productivity agriculture, slow structural transformation, and intermittent shocks like drought, natural disasters, and the COVID-19 pandemic have contributed to the high rate of poverty and vulnerability in Zimbabwe. High unsustainable debt and arrears to the international financial institutions continue limiting fiscal space and growth potential. It is with this background, Mr. Chairman, that we present to you the third triennium report for the North Zimbabwe Conference. My report, Mr. Chairman, is based on a report that you can get from the main booklet on page 56. I'm sure delegates have that book, they can follow. And also from the financial appendices that each delegate has received. I am going to walk the delegates through in summary to the documents that I have alluded to. First and foremost, Mr. Chairman, I want to highlight to the delegates how our tithes and offerings for the period under review were like. I'll kindly ask IT to help us so that the slide can come. Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. What is on your screen is our USD gross tithe and offering figures annually. I invite the delegates to check in their appendices for the month-on-month reports per district. I am going to allude to the annual figures. For the year 2021, Mr. Chairman, our tithe in US dollars, our gross tithe, maybe let me explain what I mean by gross tithe. When we say gross tithe, we are saying all the tithe that came to the conference before we deduct the union percentages that we send to the higher organization. So our gross tithe for the year 2021 in US dollars was $1,237,379. And then our offering for the same period was $282,386. And that gave us a total tithe and offering income of 1,519,765. In terms of our ratio of tithes to offering for the year 2021, for every dollar of tithe, a member was contributing 22.8 cents as offering. Then for the year 2022, our total tithes were 2,148,942. And then our total offerings were 532,666. And our total income for tithes and offerings was $2,681,608. And our ratio of tithes to offering was 24.8%. For the period January to September 2023, our total tithes, Mr. Chairman, was 2,387,735. And our total offering was $914,142. That gives us a total income of $3,301,877. Mr. Chairman, the ratio of tithes to offerings for the period January to September 2023 was standing at 38.3%. I need to allude, Mr. Chairman, that the figures for 2023 are high because during the period we received unusual tithe items from some members. Otherwise, that's the reason for that significant increase. Mr. Chairman, let me move to the next slide where we are going to see the comparisons for the years month by month. In January, our total tithe was 36,000. In February, 66,000 versus 13. In March, 97 versus 19. In April, 107 versus 27. In May, 93 versus 25. In June, 96 versus 22. In July, 124,000 versus 16. And in August, 99. Okay, it's moving faster than me. In October, 125 versus 33. In November, 115 versus 26. And in December, 200,000 versus 47. If you come to realize our December figures are very high due to the fact that, Mr. Chairman, in my presentation, I am going to walk the members through unidentified deposits, and you understand why that big jump in December. For the year 2022, I think you have been seeing the figures. In April, 149 versus 46. In May, 183 versus 36. In June, 159 versus 47. In July, 221 versus 63. In August, 196 versus 41. In September, 164 versus 41. In October, 194 versus 51. And in November, 180 versus 35. In December, 294 versus 64. We now move, Mr. Chairman, to 2023. And for our 2023, Mr. Chairman, our figures are up to the month of September. January, 136 versus 36. February, 179 versus 46. March, 251 versus 32. April, 175 versus 43. May, 290 versus 80. June, 192 versus 43. July, 330 verses 58, and in August, 448 verses 464, and in September, 383 verses 107. Like I alluded, Mr. Chairman, on that graph, you notice that the figures for August, actually offering is more than tithe. This is the month that we received the unusual items from our members. I will move, Mr. Chairman, to a graph that is comparing the figures for the 3 years to see what was the relationship. That is the trend of our giving for the 3 years. And as you can see, for our 2023, our August is our peak. Let me move, Mr. Chairman, to the incomes in ZWL. Okay, sorry, that was tithe. Now this is offering. You will notice that the trend is actually the same for our US dollars. Let me move, Mr. Chair, to the figures in ZWL. Let me allude, Mr. Chairman, that the growth that you are going to see here is not something that we should write home about, because the growth is actually fueled by the fluctuations in our exchange rates. So, Mr. Chairman, for our 2021, our total was 137 million. For the purposes of time, I'm going to just go to the first figures. And our offering, Mr. Chairman, was 18 million. Our total ZWL tithe and offering for the year 2021 was 156 million. And our ratio of tithes and offerings in ZWL for 2021 was 13.6%. In 2022, our tithes were 303 million and our offerings were 53 million. Our total income, tithes and offerings, was 357 million. Then our 2023, January to September, our tithe was 887 million and our offering was 143 million. And our total income was 1,030 million ZWL. Mr. Chairman, for 2022 and 2023 respectively, our ratio of tithes to offerings was 17.6 and 16.2. Let me move, Mr. Chairman, to a similar graph that is also showing us the trends of our giving for the conference for the 3 years. January, tithes 5 million. February, 4 million. March, 7 million. April, 5.8 million. I think you can see the fluctuations, Mr. Chairman. May, 18 million. June, 6 million. July, 9 million versus 1 million. August, 11 million versus 1 million. September, 18 million versus 1 million. October, 16 million versus 2.4 million. November, 9.3 versus 1.8. December, 24 versus 3 million. 2022, Mr. Chairman, you see the almost same trend. Our January, we had 9.2 million versus 1 million. February, 11.7 versus 2.1. March, 17 versus 3.2. April, 17 versus 3.3. May, 20 versus 3. June, 17 versus 3. July, 26 versus 5. August, 25 versus 5. September, 40 versus 3.9. October, 31 versus 6.1. November 33 verses 4.6, December 52 verses 11.3. We move to 2023, Mr. Chairman. Our figures for 2023 were as follows: 27 verses 8, February 27 verses 5, March 21 verses 3, April 34 verses 7, May 71 verses 12, June 58 verses 10, July 173 verses 28, August 180 verses 26, and September 42 million. Then we also have a graph, a similar graph, that is showing us the trends of our giving for our gross tithe in ZWL. You can see that 2023 is divorced from the other years. I think I will explain that after the next slide, Mr. Chairman. That's the trend for 2023 as well. Why is 2023 divorced from the other years? If you remember, for the year 2021, our exchange rates were a bit stable. But as we got to 2022, and especially in 2023, the exchange rates fluctuated very much. That's why we have that jump from 2022 to 2023. Mr. Chairman, let me go to the next slide, where we are going to give a summary of our statement of financial position, which is page 1 of our appendices. Mr. Chairman, our assets were composed as follows. Cash and cash equivalents accounted for 28% of our assets. Our investments composed of 16%, and accounts receivables composed 37%. Cash held for agency, I'll explain this, Mr. Chairman, 3%. Loans receivable, short term, 2%. Supplies and prepaid expenses, 1%. Non-current assets, 6%. And other assets, non-current, 7%. Our cash held for agents, Mr. Chairman, is cash that we hold on behalf of other agencies, and the largest agency funds there, Mr. Chairman, is composed of our offerings that we submit to the higher organization and other agency funds like workers' housing facility and so forth. Then, Mr. Chairman, in other assets, non-current, we have the non-current portion of loans receivables from our employees. Then our liabilities, Mr. Chairman, were composed as follows. Accounts payables accounted for 95% of our liabilities, and offerings and agency 5%. You realize that offerings and agents is appearing under our assets and appearing under our liabilities, because this is an in and out, Mr. Chairman. Our accounts payables, that figure is mainly composed of our dues to the higher organization. Then let me come to our net assets, or in the corporate world, you might know it as our reserves. Our net assets are composed as follows. Our allocated net assets compose of 50% of our net assets. And what do we mean by allocated net assets? We are saying these are net assets that have been set aside for particular purposes by the executive committee or the administrative committee. Then we've got unallocated net assets, non-tithe. As I was presenting the tithes and offerings, you realize that our income, we've got tithe and we've got offerings. And as income comes, it is unallocated. It is not specific for any particular purpose. Therefore, our unallocated net assets, non-tithe. When we are saying non-tithe, we are saying figures that came that are not tithe. It was 39%. Then we've got invested in planned. We are simply saying of our net assets, 10% is invested in planned, or that is the figure that has been invested in our non-current assets. Then we've got an allocated net assets tithe. These are the reserves for tithe funds that came to the organization. Let me move, Mr. Chairman, to summarize page 2, which is our statement of financial activity, or simply our income statement. Of our income, Mr. Chairman, 70% is tithe for the period January to September 2023. And our offerings were 17%. Okay. Thank you. I think I was moving ahead of the delegates. Thank you so much. Then our exchange gains are 13%. Let me pause, Mr. Chairman, and explain what we mean by exchange gain. As a country, we operate in a multi-currency environment. And because we operate in a multi-currency environment, our reporting currency is ZWL. But we hold funds in other currencies. And because we hold those funds in other currencies, and because the exchange rates are fluctuating, we have some exchange gains or exchange losses. In this instance, Mr. Chairman, we had exchange gains that constituted 13% of our income. Let me go to the expenditure side. Our expenditure, Mr. Chairman, was composed as follows. 62% accounted for employee-related expenses. Planned operation expenses are accounted for 14%. By planned operation expenses, we are talking of expenses that have to do with the operation of our non-current assets, and in the figure, it also includes the rentals that we pay for our employees. Then we've got program-specific, Mr. Chairman. Under program-specific, that's where we find evangelistic expenses and other program-specific expenses, and they constitute 8% of our expenditure. Then our travel expenses constituted 6% of our expenditure. Then administrative expenses constituted 4%, and then general expense 4%, and office expense 2%. Let me go to the next slide, Mr. Chairman, where I am going to summarize the last page of our financial statement, which is page 15, which talks of our working capital and liquidity. Mr. Chairman, before I explain this slide, allow me, Mr. Chairman, to bring the House to the same page so that they understand why we are now reporting these ratios in months rather than percentages. I will quote our SID working policy 2021 version, policy S24. And I'm going to just rush to S2410. The delegates can check in the report on page that starts from page 56 and see the quoted policies that I am mentioning. S2410 says working capital. Economic downturns and financial emergencies are part of the routine cycle of organizational life. Church organizations will do well in being prepared for such downturns and emergencies by ensuring resources are in place to prevent or minimize any disruption to its mission. Being prepared will include having sufficient resources to cover operational expenses and appropriations to subsidiary or related organizations for a predetermined period of time. Each organization should be mindful to build up reasonable reserves of working capital in preparation for unfavorable financial times. It would be prudent for any organization to hold a significant portion of its available working capital in liquid assets. Mr. Chairman, we are all aware that the COVID-19 happened, and when it happened, it left many organizations in dire situations. It is because of this that the worldwide church had to respond so that in future, if such pandemics on such unfavorable conditions can hit the organizations, there is something that has been done. I'm going to quote S2414, subsection 10. It says, available working capital in months. This is the number of months that the available working capital could support a predetermined period of core expenses. This policy is recommending a minimum of 6 months. And then available liquid assets, that's S2414, subsection 14. This is the number of months that the available liquid assets could support a predetermined period of core expenses. This period is recommending a minimum of 3 months. Then let me just highlight the determination of what is called self-support. The reason, Mr. Chairman, why we are called North Zimbabwe Conference and not North Zimbabwe Mission Conference is because we are a self-sustaining entity. And self-sustaining is determined, it says, policy T0515, it says an organization is considered to be self-supporting when it has sufficient end operating income, not including donations and appropriations to cover its expenses. So in other words, Mr. Chairman, when our income outside donations and appropriations is covering our expenses, then we are deemed a self-sustaining entity. Mr. Chairman, for the year 2021, our working capital was 2.1 months, and for the year 2022, our working capital was 1.2 months, and for the year 2023, up to September, our working capital was 2.9 months. Our liquidity for the year 2021, it was 1.1 months, and then for the year 2022, it was a negative 1.3 months. And for the year 2023 to September, it was a negative of 0.3 months. Then our level of self-support for the year 2021, it was 124%. For the year 2022, it was 113%. And for the year 2023, it was 133%. I need to explain, Mr. Chairman, when you see our working capital and liquidity, you realize that the year 2022 was hardly hit. What's the reason? That's the period that we came out of COVID. In year 2021, there were no activities. If activities started, they started way towards the end of the year. But as we got to year 2022, to quote one of my favorite pastors, vanhu vakaita chipata-pata nezviripo. People wanted to do programs, and that had an effect on our liquidity and even on our working capital. But as you see, for September 2023, we are now improving because we have now adjusted to the post-COVID era. Let me move forward, Mr. Chairman. And at this point, before we go to the next slide, I am going to pause and I'm going to invite my predecessor and the now Union Chief Financial Officer to introduce the auditor that is going to present our audit report. After that, Mr. Chairman, I will continue with my report. It is my singular honor, Mr. Chairman, to invite Elder Simbarashe Muzamindo to the podium. Thank you.
Thank you, Elder Sefo. I'm here up front to introduce our auditor, who is here with us tonight. Ndasimukira kuti ndikuzivisei muyenzi watinaye pakati pedu anowa auditor wedu akatarisa mabooks in North Zimbabwe Conference, and we are doing so in line with our procedures, our session procedures and practices according to our policy. But let me take a sidetrack a bit and also acknowledge the presence of the audit committee, chair wedu andina kunge ndavaona unless wazosvika manheru anaya Elder Dingwiza andina kunge ndavaona, but in absentia would want to acknowledge the work that he did in North Zimbabwe Conference, but I would want to believe that his colleagues are present tonight. That is Vakatiyo varipo here vasimuke, Vamushosho ndambovaona avo vari uko. Ndo komiti yanga yakasarudzwa nesession yapfuura kuti vatibatsire munhau dzeaudit. Let me come back to our auditor. Our auditor is coming from the General Conference Auditing Services. That is GCAS, and it's better known as GCAS. So when we talk of GCAS, we are only talking about the General Conference Auditing Services. And what is this GCAS? GCAS is an organizationally independent audit function of the church, which has been given the responsibility to audit and arrange for all organizations worldwide which are affiliated to the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Let me introduce Mr. Innocent Muhabe, our GCAS auditor. I think I would twist my tongue if I attempt to pronounce his professional credentials, but he is a certified and chartered professional. And I do not doubt his commitment to serve God by delivering excellent audit services. He is married, and together they are blessed with 2 daughters. Allow me to welcome Mr. Muhabe to the podium to deliver the GCAS report.
Thank you.
Good evening, the Living Church of God. Mani nesangadzwe naMwari. All right. Ndanchona vanhu vanga kurara. I hope you followed through the report from the treasury. I hope we followed through. So thank you, Elder Mzamindo, for describing GCAS. Indeed, we are an independent auditor for the Seventh Adventist Church. So North Zimbabwe Conference, NZC, is also one of our clients. In addition to introduce to you GCAS, we are over 300 auditors from 45 countries worldwide. So as you can see, our logo is there for GCAS, and then down in there, the seventh panel, you see it's similar to that of the Seventh Adventist Church, and you can see the logo for Seventh Adventist Church. So the question would be, are you independent as GCAS? Okay. We are affiliated, as Adam Zamido said, we are affiliated to Seventh Adventist Church, as you can see by that logo. However, for the purpose of our work, we are independent. We are not part of management. We are not part of US delegates, though we are Adventists. So our opinion will be independent of management. Can we move to the next slide? Okay, so we have got 6 slides that we have. So this is basically the table of contents. Okay, so here, this is our process as GCAS. We start by agreeing with management. We do engagement letters with them, and then we obtain information about the client. We then assess the risk of assessment. We assess the risk of midterm statement, whether due to fraud or error. And then we perform all the procedures. We conclude by analyzing results, draw conclusions, and form an opinion about the financial statements. And finally, we report. I am happy to announce that all these processes, we went through them, and we produced a report, what we call a report to governance. So the governance for NZC is the controlling committee, which is the EXCOM. So EXCOM has been finished with our report. Okay, so what does that mean to you as the delegates here present? We deliver excellent audits. We serve God. That's our mission statement. We serve God by delivering excellent audit services to the Seventh Adventist Church. So our role is to give assurance to you as the delegates or the constituents. We express an opinion on the financial statements prepared by management. Can you move to the next slide? Okay. I hope we are seeing what's there. I hope we are seeing. Okay. Don't sleep on this page. Listen very, very attentively, okay? If you were attentive to what Elder Gondo was presenting, he presented financial statements 2021, 2022, and then 2023. Okay. We audited up to 2022 December. Is it clear? Okay. So here's our scope. Our scope is we conducted financial statements audit. So our scope is on financial statements. All right? We also considered the policy compliance. As you may know that conferences, unions going above, we use church policy. From general conference to conferences, we use general conference, we use the working policy. Local churches, I am sure you don't know about this working policy, unless you're an EXO member. Local churches, you use the church manual. So we also audit the policy compliance, or we look into that. So we audited 2020, 21, and 2022. Okay, we audit these financial statements according to international auditing standards. Okay, some people may ask, as we move around, they'll say, you say you are an auditor of the church. Can a church be audited? Why? You know, some churches, they don't even know that a church can be audited. So our church is audited. So we audit using international auditing standards. So we are not, okay, the church is not just an ordinary organization, but it is a professional one. So we use the international auditing standards. Okay, so those standards require us to plan, perform the audit to obtain reasonable assurance whether the financial statements are free from material misstatements. So what is materiality? Okay, materiality is the size of the misstatement or omission that could be expected to influence the decisions of the financial statements users. You are part of the users, so you need to know about the affairs of the church, whether they are looked at from independent perspective. Okay, so let me share with you the results of the audit from the year 2020 to year 2022. I hope you are not sleeping. As you can see, in orange, those are the results. Okay. The financial statements, as Elder Gondo was saying, we have got 5 financial statements, right? Is it correct? Accountants, are you here? Okay, we have got 5 financial statements. The first one is the statement of what? Financial position, which is formally the balance sheet. The next one is the statement of what? Financial activity. In church, you say financial activity. But in the world, you can say financial performance or profit and loss, but the correct term is financial activity for the church. Then there is also statement of changes in net assets. And then statement of cash flows, tab number 4. The fourth one are notes to the financial statements. Okay. What does that mean? In 2020, we disclaimed an opinion on all the financial statements. Okay? 2021, we had a split opinion. Because we disclaimed an opinion in 2020, those balances enter materially into the determination of the opening balance for 2021. So all other financial statements will be disclaimed as we did. And then only the financial position, we expressed an opinion, an adverse opinion. And then 2022, we expressed an adverse opinion on all the financial statements. And then policy compliance report was non-standard throughout the years. Okay. So for policy compliance, let me start with policy compliance. For policy compliance, if we note one or more non-compliance, we report it as non-standard. Okay? It's too difficult, right? So the other report that we give is a standard. So if we do not see any material non-compliance, it will be a standard. So that was the issue. So for more details, you can look from your report. I think it's the page 3 of our report in your appendices. Okay. I hope you have seen this page, right? Can you see it? Okay. So, on page 2 of our report, so the question is, so why then, what does that mean? That you disclaimed 2020, 2021, and then an adverse opinion from there. What does that mean? So we have to explain the basis of our modification of the opinions, right? Are you ready to get the reasons? Someone saying, yeah, from there. Okay. let me admit that everyone else, is not a secret that we are operating in a hyperinflationary environment. What it means is the general increase in price is there, right? So when do we tell that we are in an hyperinflation environment? When you prefer a stronger currency than your local currency. If you are given today an option to get $100 US and 100 bond, which one would you choose? 100 bond, right? Okay, they're saying 100 US. So we are in a hyperinflation environment. Another sign that we are in a hyperinflation is when your country's inflation rate exceeds 100%, right? What is the inflation rate in Zimbabwe as we speak? Okay, what I know is over 100, right? We are in a hyperinflation environment. So what it means is, when we are in a hyperinflation environment, the accounting standard relevant to this, which is number 29, IAS 29, requires that the financial statements be adjusted for inflation, right? So the figures that were presented here, management tried to knock sense in you delegates that they presented the USD, the RTG, so that at least you can get value from that. Otherwise, the financial statements, the figures there, are not adjusted for inflation. Okay, so the standard required that it be adjusted for inflation. So that's the basis for the adverse opinion. Another one, so what it means is the effect of not adjusting the figures is pervasive and material. I defined to you materiality. What is material, right? There is defined. Pervasive, it means it affects many parts of the organization, of the financial reports. So in this case, every figure is affected by inflation. So it means that it's pervasive. And the reason why we disclaimed our opinion is because of International Accounting Standard number 21. It talks about exchange rates. Elder Gondo was talking about the exchange rates there. Did you see the exchange gain that he mentioned? What is the percentage? Is there anyone who was listening? What is the exchange gain that? 13, right? Yes. So what it means is, as delegates, as part of, as members of the church, we retain tithes and offerings in USD. So at the end of the day, at the end of the year, we hold the US dollars or rands. So we have to convert that into the functional and presentation currency. The functional and presentation currency for Zimbabwe is ZWL. Am I correct? Yes. So, but when you then look at the spot rates that are being used, they are not accurate. No one knows the spot rate as we speak. If I ask you to say what is the spot rate today, you can't tell. If I ask Pastor Z, what is your, if you have got your $100, okay, if I have got my $100 here, and I say, can I have a local currency? You may talk of your rate, Pastor Amsara can talk of his rate, and Amzam can talk of his rate, depending years of Eco Cash, or RTGS, or Nostro. It depends. So the rate, no one knows as we speak. I'm sure we all know, we are familiar with this. So that's why we disclaimed the opinion, that's why we expressed an adverse opinion on the financial statements. So what do we say by this? We are giving assurance as independent auditors to you to say, as management, you have to find ways to draw meaning from these financials. There are so many ways that you can do. for example, what they've done is management to say, for you to understand, let's present in US dollar RTG so that at least you can get some sense from the financials. Okay, can you move to the next slide? Okay, so here is a glossary of our opinions that we express as GCAS or even an independent auditor. We have got unmodified, that's the clean opinion. Qualified, it means the auditor would have picked material misstatements but are not pervasive. You get it? Then adverse, it means that the auditor has concludes that the financial statements are materially misstated, like in this case, because of inflation, because of exchange rates. Okay? Then disclaimer is when the auditor refrains from expressing an opinion. They will say, no, we do not express an opinion because of what we call limitation of scope, right? In the Bible, we also have an example of disclaimer, right? Laodicean church. What did Jesus say about church of Laodicea? He said, you are neither hot nor cold. So that's a disclaimer. So then the reason why we disclaim is there's limitation of scope, which is material and pervasive. So the reason why we disclaimed an opinion for 2020, okay, can you move to the next slide, which may be the last one? Yes, can you, okay. The reason why we disclaimed it was because of lack of support documents for material account balances and related activity. Yes, that was the reason. So basically, this is the summary of our reports 2022 advice. So what I am seeing from this is that the organization moved from a disclaimer 2020, 2021 disclaimer, and then an advice. So what it means is in our environment, this is a clean opinion in our environment. Why am I saying so? Is aside of the inflation and the exchange rates, there are no other things that the auditor would have picked. If he would have picked other things, he would have disclaimed the opinion in 2022. I hope I have clarified for you to understand. Thank you so much. I will leave this time. I will give back the time to Elder Gondo. But in a moment, let me I was writing some notes. Okay, let me just show you something that you are talking about, the effects of this inflation. Okay, in your financial in the audited financial statements, can you go on page 5? Page 5. I want to show you that the effects of inflation only. Okay. The first line item on page 5 of our report, okay, you see there's cash and cash equivalents. In 2021, there was 61 million. In 2022, there's 226 million. Do you see that change? Can you say that change is growth? The church had much cash in 2022? No, it's not. This is an effect of inflation. However, if these financials were adjusted for inflation, maybe they could make some sense. So in other words, the horizontal analysis of the figures are not accurate. You can't do a trend analysis on these figures. You can't say the church the cash resources grew from 61 million to 226. Also, if you go to the net assets, you see there's 102 million in 2021, and then 270 million in 2022. Do you see this difference? I think it's more than 100%, almost maybe 200% or 300%. Which organization has grew that much to say from 2021 to 2022, there was just a jump? I think you would have worked hard to have these net assets that will grow like that. Also, the same with income. We can't say members were more faithful in 2022 than they were in 2021. Okay. So, allow me to hand over this time to Elder Gondo so that he finishes his reports. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Elder Mahabe. Thank you so much. We are going to continue, Mr. Chairman, from where we left. That was the next slide, IT. The next slide after this one, after the ratios. Mr. Chairman, when I was presenting the tithes and offering figures, I alluded to unidentified deposits. Let me go back, Mr. Chairman, and refer to the fact that we operate in an environment that is unusual. And because our economy is unusual, the way church members contribute funds is not similar. It is not similar to other countries because we are a multi-currency and our banking systems also, they have so many platforms of contributing to the church. One of the challenges that this has posed on the church is the problem of unidentified deposits. What do we mean by unidentified deposits? We are saying Mr. Chimuti in Mount Darwin has deposited $600 into our bank account, and they don't furnish the local church treasurer with the details of that amount. Neither do they furnish the conference treasury with the details of that amount. But the funds have come into our bank account and we cannot account for them. We don't know whether they are tithe, whether they are offerings, or whether it was money from Tower for Christ. Mr. Chairman, for the period up to September 2023, we had the following scenario. On our screen, the first column is the amount of unidentified deposits for the period. The next column and the following one, the third one, is to say our division took an action to say, in the case of unidentified deposits, the conferences can allocate them at a ratio of 85% tithe and 15% offerings. Then column number 4 and column number 5, I alluded to the fact that when we receive tithes and offerings, we also forward percentages to the union. So column 4 and column 5 is representing the percentages to the union. And then column number 6 is the total obligation that will be created by the unidentified deposits. Let me be quick, Mr. Chairman, to say this of 8515 is a hypothesis. This has not been done. These unidentified deposits were still sitting on our books as of September. But I'm just giving delegates a scenario if we are to go this direction. So for our FCA accounts, we had a total of USD $190,665.97 as unidentified deposits. If we are to allocate 85% of that as tithes, it gives us $162,066.07. And if we are to allocate 15% of that as offering, it gives us $28,599.90. And of that portion of tithe in column 2, if we are to then calculate the percentage to the union, it gives us 65.63676 cents. That will be our tithe portion to the union. And then our offering portion to the union will be $17,159.94. And then as you go to column 6, the total obligation to the union will be $82,796.70. I'm going to explain something on column 6. For our rand, we had 6,110 rands is unidentified, 85%, 5,193, 15%, 916. The union portion of tithe, 2,103, and the union portion of offering, 549 rands. In the total obligation to the union, 2,653 rands. Then for our RTGS or our ZWL, we had 100,335,796 is unidentified, and 85% of that would translate to 85.2 million, and 15% of that would translate to 15 million. And then the union portion would translate to 34.5 million, and the union portion of offering would translate to 9 million. And then the total obligation to the union would translate to 43.5 million. Now, I need to explain, Mr. Chairman, that the challenge that this poses for unidentified deposits is these funds have come into our bank account, and when they come, we don't know what they are for, but we have obligations to pay. So we look at our bank account and we pay our obligations. But then after 6 months, I am going to repeat, after 6 months, the treasurer for Kariba Church brings their report and tells you that of that money that came into your account, the 63,000 was from Tower for Christ. Are you with me? 63,000 was from Tower for Christ. Do we still have it? Okay, can we move to the next slide? I need delegates to appreciate something.
In your church, a vibrant community where funds flow in from various sources to support its mission and activities. Members and well-wishers contribute in various ways: Sabbath offerings, fundraising events, donations, and even online giving too. All these offerings are like a colorful mosaic of generosity coming together in one collection, a single church bank account. The finance team then carefully separates the funds. Some go toward operating costs like salaries and bills, some for charitable outreach, and some for future endeavors. But here's where things get challenging. If the funds aren't clearly identified, they could end up being used for different purposes, causing confusion and financial challenges. When it is not clear where the money should be spent, it is easy for it to be used during times of emergencies or if an immediate need arises. This can lead to mistakes in our financial records, mess up our cash flows, and sometimes even make us financially unstable. It's hard to make good plans for the future when we are not sure about the money.
Yes, point of order. All right, thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. I move, Mr. Chairman, that the House accepts the report as presented.
Okay, a motion has been moved. Anyone to second? Seconded. Open for discussion. Allow me to entertain 6 hands from this side and 6 hands from this side. These are financial things, so this is why I gave the number a bit higher representation. Those that want to speak, may you come up here. Okay, 6 are here already. All right. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's okay. All right. Yeah, it's okay. Thank you. Let's begin from this side. Where's the mic? Okay. Please, before you make your submission, to those who are making their submissions, please, let's honor our timekeeper.